Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the Ukraine headlines. So there is a few updates, and I'll go through the whole list first. We have pipelines under Kupiansk. The Russians are using pipelines again, and we have the Trump trying to push the NATO side to actually spend more, not spend more, cut spending on Russian oil. And then we have something about some update about the Eastern Guardian operation, the NATO's operation to protect NATO airspace in the eastern part of Europe, and something about electromagnetic weaponries by Ukraine, Russian tankers getting hit by SBU drone attack, as well as some news regarding some visa might be useful for those that have spouses that is from Russia. So we're going to go on the first news first. So according to the general staff of the armed forces of Ukraine, they reported that things about Kupiansk and pipelines, which is something that we have like people commented in the war reporting that maybe there is pipes. And then I was like, there can't possibly be always there's pipes, right? No, but somehow there's pipes. So according to the Ukrainian armed forces, they say that there is the accumulation of Russian forces in the northern outskirts of Kupiansk, and there is an exit from the pipeline which the Russian forces use to move personnel to Kupiansk, which is currently under the Ukrainian control. So, but the pipeline does not lead directly into the city. So, they say that in the Kupiansk area, there's several pipelines in the Kupiansk area. And so, actually, I can use this. Oh, this is a bit big, man. Okay, never mind. So, never mind. Okay, let's use this. Several pipelines in the Kupiansk area. 3 of the 4 tracks are already damaged and flooded. Okay, that's a bad idea. No, very hard to read. Exit from the 4th is currently under the control of the Ukrainians. So there is 4 pipes, and 3 of them has been destroyed. And then the 4th one is under Ukrainian control. And then there is also counter-sabotage operations in the city. Search and strike operations is currently underway around the city. So, which means that if there is counter-sabotage operation in the city, which means Kupiansk is currently infiltrated by Russian forces. So this is a very similar situation as in Pokrov, if you ask me. And so the rest of the stuff is not super important. And we shall see how this goes. This news to me, I do not know that there is pipelines that the Russians could use. So yeah, news. And then we go on to the next one is regarding Trump trying to push NATO to push them to stop buying Russian oil. So, and this is actually the full the truth that is published on the Truth Social. So Donald Trump sent this letter to NATO nations and the world. I'm ready to do major sanctions on Russia when all NATO nations started to do the same thing. When all NATO nations stop buying oil from Russia. And so the United States will only do it if the whole of NATO do it together. As you know, NATO's commitment to win has been far less than 100%, and the purchase of Russian oil by some has been shocking. So this, from another article by Radio Free Europe, they reported that Turkey is the 3rd largest buyer of Russian oil globally. 3rd largest, which means that they are just behind China and India, while Hungary and Slovakia continue to buy Russian oil mainly via pipeline through the southern branch of the Druzhba pipeline under EU exemption. And of course, this is like a big like we already know this hypocrisy of the Europeans where they want to defeat and destroy Russia, or at least help Ukraine win their war, but at the same time they are feeding the Russian war machine. The amount of money that they are throwing to Russia by buying the oil and gas actually outweighs, I think, the amount of money they are investing directly to Ukraine. I think that is shouldn't be that wouldn't be an overstatement. I think this is even an understatement. So Trump said that it greatly weakens your negotiating position and bargaining power over Russia, which is true. That's why Russia don't even take them seriously. Anyway, I am ready to go when you are. Just say when. So just say when. And believe that plus NATO as a group placing 50 to 100% tariff on China to be fully withdrawn after the war with Russia and the Ukraine is ended will also be a great help in ending this deadly and ridiculous war. I actually agree with that. This is a ridiculous war. So China have strong control and even grip over Russia. This powerful tariff will break their grip. And I would say this is there is some truth to this, because if there is a massive tariff on China and China breaks rank with Russia, then they would effectively break this partnership between China and Russia, which would actually reverse this outcome where they kind of accidentally push Russia into China's arms. So but that also depends on does the Europeans actually have that will to actually push for such a massive tariff regime against China. Yeah, because they are also addicted to Chinese goods, just like everyone else in the world. So let's see how that goes. But in reality, it is true. If all of United States and Europe all stop buying Chinese goods, effectively, because it's a 50 to 100% on China, then China would have to break. They have to break rank with Russia, because it's not worth economically speaking, China cannot sustain that. So there may be a good chance. I would say 50%. Because China have its own geopolitical aims as well. So the other 50% is that they might just suck it up and then go to war with Taiwan, with the partnership with Russia. That is also possible. No, it's not impossible. So this relates to my reporting on the trade war months ago, which I kind of stopped the series because I didn't follow it anymore. Because I did say that for United States, cutting China off entirely might be one of the aims. At least some of these advisors of Trump would love for that to happen. So I don't think Trump himself wants that per se. But his advisors 100% wanting to push for it. For example, Peter Navarro and perhaps his finance minister, finance secretary, possible. But the Europeans are weak. Unfortunately, I know some of you guys or many of you guys are Europeans, but your government is weak. They are unlikely, and they don't respect Trump. So they don't take Trump very seriously. They only act when they are getting threatened by Trump, and they don't like it, but they still do it anyway. And then they hate it, but then they want to win against Russia, but they still buy Russian oil. They're kind of a complicated, confusing. That is weakness. They have no strong position. So yeah. So and then after that, of course, Trump must say that it's not his war, and Biden and Zelensky's war and whatnot. He's only here to try to help stop it, save thousands of Russian and Ukrainian lives. And he said that 7,000 lives have been lost last week alone. So if NATO does as he says, the war will end quickly and all of the life will be saved. If not, you're just wasting my time, energy, money of the United States. So he's pretty strong on his words here. But like I said, I would say the plan might work to really put severe pressure on Russia. It doesn't mean that Russia will end the war just because they lose China as a market. But Russia can still fight on. They can still fight on, even if China is not on Russia's side. Russia don't need China per se they just don't have the income that they will have to print money and whatnot. Yeah, eventually it will be just be something like this. But these have links to the geopolitical war between United States and China. But Europe is just too weak to do this. So yeah, I don't think so. I don't think this is going to happen. Trump is just trying his best. I think he's very frustrated dealing with the Europeans because they wanted the war. They wanted the war to continue. They wanted to support Ukraine, but they still want to eat a lot of Russian oil and gas. So that's what it is. And so NATO have this Eastern Guardian operation. So this operation Eastern Guardian is in direct response to the Russian drone breach on the Polish territory. So this is the air defense operation. So the journalists actually asked whether this will include Western Ukraine. That means the commitment to shoot down Russian missiles and drones over Western Ukraine. So although the title puts won't cover, but actually if you read the article, that is not entirely what he said. He just refused to answer. He said that the Eastern Guardian is focused on defending alliance territory, which does not include Ukraine. The problem is you do not defend the territory on your own territory. You actually fire your missiles or you intercept the incoming drones before it reaches your territory. Because if you shoot it down over your territory, it will still land on your territory. What's the difference? So I think he's trying to not commit to a firm response or firm answer because this is going to have a geopolitical implications. Russia is going to make noise. Not just that, they're going to make threats. So and it might cause escalation. I think NATO do not want the escalation. So but they want to keep everything very very vague, so that they can quietly shoot down drones and missiles over Ukraine and continue to slowly push this envelope, and just erase away all these Russian red lines that Russia keep drawing and never really enforce. So yeah, so they want to push the red lines, and yeah, eventually I think this Eastern Guardian operation thing, I think may possibly eventually evolve if the Russians do not react extraordinarily. They will eventually become what Ukraine wanted, a no-fly zone or an air defense zone over Ukraine. At least half of Ukraine, the western half of Ukraine. Then the Ukrainian Air Force and air defense will be focused purely on the eastern Ukraine, or the central Ukraine, where the main of the fighting and the threats going to be. Then they don't need to care about the rear positions, which will then be protected by NATO. That's what Ukraine wants, at least for now. And I think this Eastern Guardian operation is that trap, or that covert operation to slowly creep into Ukraine in terms of air defense. So I think that's what we're going to expect. And then there's this news about Ukraine trying to develop electromagnetic weaponry, and they boasted a little bit about it, about using lasers. Try to see how to use laser to blind the cameras of drones. They're having trouble with targeting systems, so that's something they're doing. I think Russia is doing the same thing. Russia have already some units of laser kind of truck. I think they're also testing. So I think within the next 6 months, we might see new type of weapons enter the war, and that will mean a new era of modern warfare. So modern warfare is going to be rewritten again, and maybe drones will start to have reduced effectiveness, just like how a surface-to-air missile system forced a total change of air doctrines. Air doctrines totally changed due to surface-to-air missile systems. So I think maybe this electromagnetic weapons is going to do the same to drone warfare. So they say that Ukraine is one of the few countries that have electromagnetic weapon technologies, and they must be developed. It is promising and technologically advanced. The fight in the electromagnetic spectrum between data transmission technology and jamming technology will always exist. So So they are trying to do this, and I think few other countries is positioned as well as Russia or Ukraine to actually develop such technology, because they are fighting a war. Drones are everywhere, and they understand drone warfare very well because they are fighting it and using it themselves. So I think, yeah, I think the next 6 months is going to be crazy, and because it's a war, so technology will evolve super fast. And this is one of the news I think is widely celebrated on the pro-Ukrainian side. Two Russian tankers was hit by drones, on the Primorsk oil terminal, and this is about Baltic oil export hub in the city of Primorsk. I think this St. Petersburg, which is Primorsk. Oh my god! Oh, it's over here. So is this city here? So I think this was the one that was hit, and I can see this is really far away from Ukraine. Like, this is super abnormal. Where is the drone launched from? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So but but there is some kind of impact already. After the drone strike, this largest petroleum export port of Russia on the Baltic Sea temporarily halted operations. So the estimates is currently on $100 million in trade daily. So yeah, so that is the port. So yeah, some hit there. So we shall see whether this would affect. I think the Russians are definitely feeling the pressure, with all these drone strikes by Ukraine. So I know there is a lot of pro-Russian guys watching DPA, but no, don't underestimate this kind of a slow bleeding. It's like a damage by 1,000 cuts. By Ukraine. It is starting to. I think Russian economy is starting to feel it, because it's very expensive to keep repairing stuff like this, and the Russians still have not developed effective air defense systems against drones, and if they can't even stop drones, how do you stop missiles? How do you stop airstrikes? So I think this myth of Russian superiority in air defense is definitely cracked badly, and I think even when we look at other wars like Israeli airstrike on Iran or Israeli infiltration into Qatar and airstrike the Hamas positions, we can actually see that as much as we like to say how powerful air defenses are, how powerful the radars are, how powerful the surface-to-air missiles are, it looks like the Air Force airstrikes still remains to be a relevant warfare methodology of war. And I think the drones and the missiles will now complement as part of a comprehensive air campaign for any countries, particularly if they are worth their salt. So I think Russia's, despite they are the world's #1 air defense country, unable to stop the Ukrainian drones is just humiliating. So yeah, it is what it is. So and one last, this news is actually for the DPA army people who have Russian spouse, so living in Europe. So this is news. Maybe you have heard it, maybe you have not. EU is trying to tighten the visa rules, but so far, they are going to say they're going to make it harder for Russian citizens to get visa into Europe, into EU or the Schengen zones. However, I have read through this thing. So far, it looks like it's just going to be a recommendation. So it's set out general recommendation, including stricter criteria for Russians to enter the bloc. However, this will not impose binding rules. So this is not a binding thing. So this is currently just a guideline for the various countries to decide if they want to follow. So that is that is what it is right now. So I just thought, maybe you guys would want to know, and then it will come in December. So keep a lookout for that if that happens. So anyway, that's it. Happy birthday to you if your birthday today. Have a great weekend. So press the like button, subscribe. This is the news headlines coming out of Ukraine or in relation to Ukraine. So let me know, what you think in the comment. Again, because the previous video wasn't watched by a lot of people, I'm just gonna ask again if whether you like this series, and if you want me to continue, because I want the war reportings to focus on the war channel, so that this main channel we can talk geopolitics, which is my real passion. I like military stuff, but I'm not a geek on that. So I like geopolitics more, because this is more consequential for our lives. And and you can also let me know what other type of topic or subject matter or countries that you want the similar news headline to video to be on, because I think I can do 2 a day at most. But Ukraine is definitely one of them, because we are talking so much about Ukraine. So talking about Ukraine makes sense. But we can talk about China, United States, Southeast Asia, India, Middle East, Israel, Palestine, whatever. Let me know what you think in the comment, and I'll see you guys in the next update.